Coming up on the news at Rider, the Rider Bronx basketball team is on a roll.
And the whole campus is still buzzing about the Giants Super Bowl victory.
Stay tuned for the news at Rider. Fairy tales are normally tailored to girls, but what happens when a team of boys participate in a Cinderella story on court? A dream may not be a wish your heart makes, but one a team makes. With every passing game, the men's basketball team advances closer and closer to the MAC championship. Now, with 6 games to go in the regular season, the Rider Bronx are hopeful that they will continue the successful journey they have embarked on back in January. Since the game versus Canisius on January 6th, the Bronx have driven home 9 consecutive wins, making a very impressive winning streak for Bronx fans, but a rather intimidating one for Bronx rivals. Head coach Tommy Dempsey is proud of his men, but still pushes them to improve and conquer one important skill, their defense.
Well, I think the biggest key to our team's success so far has been our improved defense. We finished 9th in the league last year out of 10 in defense. We've always been a very good offensive team. We have a lot of guys that can put the ball in the basket, but our focus on the defensive end is what really has helped us to turn the corner and become a much more complete team.
The Bronx strategy in game preparation is detrimental to their performance on court. The men say their focus, application, and mentality is key.
Staying focused, paying attention to every little detail, because when game time comes, every little detail matters.
When usually in the beginning of games, we have early starts and good leads, but we have to have a killer's mentality of having a 20-point lead and keeping that lead throughout the game, and not letting coasting on the court and letting teams come back into the game like we did against Siena on ESPN2.
Coach Dempsey seems to look beyond his team's focus to the scouting report. He says eliminating the skills of the opponent is significant in every game plan.
The one thing that we focus on with the guys during scouting is what is the team that we're playing do extremely well. And if there's 4 or 5 things, you're not going to take everything away, but we try to take at least the 2 things that they do best away, and as well as try to take their best 1 or 2 players and do our best to limit their production on a given night.
Dempsey added that the chemistry among the players is important, as well as the support of students and the surrounding community. Jason Thompson agrees.
No, we're just not teammates. We're all considered, family. We always are chilling, on the court, off the court, and for a team to have success is to have a great bond, and I feel like all of our teammates have that.
Rider has 3 upcoming games this weekend. They play Niagara on Friday, Siena on Sunday, and Loyola on Monday, all of which are close behind in the MAC standings, and ultimately a threat to the Bronx position on the charts. The Bronx are currently first in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, and they love every minute of it. Yet, they are aware of the job they have cut out for them in the weeks to come, and each Bronx is willing and able to run to the top. You can see the Bronx in action this Friday night at 7 p.m. in the Alumni Gym.
Almost 100 million viewers turned into the Super Bowl on Sunday to see the New York Giants topple the previously undefeated New England Patriots. During the game, the SRC was open to students, providing a high-definition TV viewing experience, as well as traditional Super Bowl snacks to all who attended. Rider News correspondent Garrett Williams was there to catch all the action.
Sunday afternoon, students gathered in the SRC lobby to watch the Giants and the Patriots compete for the Super Bowl championship. Although there were only 30 students who attended this SGA event, the atmosphere still felt monumental.
Week-long process. You got to plan out. You got to know what kind of food to get. What kind of you got to predict how many people are going to be here. It's a long process. It's not easy to plan.
During the game, many students were able to munch on traditional Super Bowl party foods, which included pizza, hot wings, and potato chips. During halftime, SGA organized a Super Bowl pool for students to participate in.
It's basically the end numbers in the pool. Say if the Giants, they won, it was 17-14. The ending number counts, so it would be 7 Giants and 4 the Patriots. So the person with the 7 and the 4 would match up along that box would win.
Overall, the SGA-sponsored Super Bowl party was a huge success. For more information about SGA-sponsored events, visit the Rider website. I'm Garrett Williams, Channel 20, News at Rider.
On Tuesday, after the Giants' victory, a ticker tape parade was held in their honor in New York City. The News at Rider congratulates the Giants on a job well done.
Just 2 days after the Giants overcame the odds to defeat the Patriots, the country turned to the political arena for Super Tuesday, where candidates, Republican and Democrat alike, saw their hard work pay off one state at a time. New Jersey residents flocked to the polls on Tuesday in an attempt to push their favorite candidate that much closer to the White House. Sean Rainey was in attendance at the SGA-sponsored Super Tuesday results party.
On Tuesday, 21 states across the nation from New Jersey to Alaska headed to the polls to vote in the Super Tuesday primaries. SGA sponsored a results party where the incoming results were displayed on a projection monitor, while the TVs displayed updated results from CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. Senator John McCain of Arizona won the Republican primary in New Jersey, which pleased many Republicans in attendance.
Oh, for as long as I can remember, as long as John McCain's been a public servant, he's been a consistent conservative, but he's been someone who's been able to reach across the aisle and, work in a bipartisan manner and kind of come together and bring both parties together on important issues facing the country, and that'll bode well for the general election, where you're not just going to try to attract Republicans. You need to attract independents and Democrats to win the national election. So he can get the support of Republicans and get the support of people on the fringe.
I think he's going to go all the way. I think what's going to happen is he's going to beat Hillary, and he's going to be the next president of the United States.
Senator Hillary Clinton of New York won New Jersey by a relatively easy margin. The University Democrats explain why she is the best choice to represent their party in the upcoming presidential election.
She also has the experience of being First Lady of the United States and First Lady of Arkansas. What does that mean? We hear that a lot, but how do you qualify? We qualify it by pointing out the fact that as First Lady, she brought a lot of issues to the forefront that you find many U.S. senators not bringing to the forefront. Going around the world and traveling with State Department delegations to talk about human rights and civil rights, talking about genocidal issues and the rebuilding of areas in the Balkans, in Africa, in Northern Ireland, or in Asia.
No candidate from either party was able to clinch the nomination on Super Tuesday, but with states such as Maryland, Virginia, and Louisiana holding primaries within the next week, no candidate can afford to stop campaigning. This has been Sean Rainey, Channel 20, News at Rider.
And to show just how Super Tuesday really was, Nicholas Balassi was also at work as the results were coming in, hosting an edition of On the Issues during the Election Bowl, returns party in the SRC. He spoke with representatives from some of the campaigns as well as students and faculty members about the candidates in the race.
It works. New Jersey has played a key role in the 2008 presidential race. Democratic frontrunners Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama both visited the Garden State in January with the hopes of capturing the majority of its delegates. In Jersey City, Obama discussed why health care in America is problematic.
Think about it. We have been talking about a broken health care system for decades now, through Democratic and Republican administrations. And yet, year after year, nothing happens. And you know why? Because the drug companies and the insurance companies spent $1 billion preventing reform from happening.
In North Bergen, Senator Clinton talked tough on the economy.
The way I judge the economy is not if the people at the top are doing well, but what about everybody else? And right now, it's not working for most Americans. We've got to get back to creating new jobs. And I want to be sure that we have an economy that begins to move us toward energy independence. Aren't you tired of sending your money to oil-producing countries instead of putting it to work right here?
Senator Clinton says more people were lifted out of poverty than ever in the 90s. She wants to add 5 million jobs to get back to the kind of economy the U.S. had under her husband, President Bill Clinton.
Former President Bill Clinton campaigned for his wife at Camden County Community College. He centered in on the financial aspect of his wife's health care plan.
At any time during the year, a third will be without it. And yet we spend $700 billion more than we would spend if we had any other country's health system. If you vote for her, everybody will have coverage. You can keep what you have if you like it. You can buy into a plan just like the plan that insures members of Congress and their families and federal employees if you don't. It has mental health coverage. It has dental health coverage. You can tailor the coverage for your family. You can't be denied coverage if you've been sick. You can't be gouged on the premium. And if you can't afford it, you're eligible for a tax cut so that no one will pay more than a certain percentage of their income. And this plan will save you money in many ways. By improving the way health care is delivered and by investing in wellness. We do not do enough to keep our people well.
Senator McCain spoke the day before Super Tuesday in Hamilton. He made a variety of campaign promises, including cutting out all wasteful spending.
I'm proud to stand here in front of you and tell you that in 24 years as a member of the United States Congress, I have never asked for nor received a single earmarked pork barrel project from my state, and I will not do it. And my state's doing pretty well, by the way. They're doing pretty well. So I want to assure you that every earmarked pork barrel project that comes across my desk as President of the United States, I will veto it, and I will make them famous. You will know their names.
McCain was joined by former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, former New Jersey Governor Tom Kean Sr., and Senator Joe Lieberman. Lieberman discussed why he and McCain both support tax rebates to jumpstart the economy.
But if you put money in the hands of middle-class people, they'll spend it, and that'll get the economy rolling again. So I think it's a good first step. The economy is going to be all right. We're going through a tough time, and that money that the rebates will give will help people.
For the News at Ryder, I'm Nicholas Balassi.
You can catch more of On the Issues every day right here on the Ryder University Network.
February is Black History Month, a time when the nation comes together to celebrate the rich history surrounding the African American community, past and present. Kelly Dixon was present at the Guild Chapel service commemorating the culture surrounding this month.
In celebration of Black History Month, Protestant Campus Ministries and the BSU got together to hold a Black History Month service at the Guild Chapel. The service featured special guest speaker Reverend Toby Sanders.
I was invited to speak to a group of students as a celebration for their Black Student Union, and I'm here because I like talking to students.
PCM musical directors added to the service and got everyone involved with special soul music. Many in attendance took part in communion services. After the service, students and faculty enjoyed a soul food dinner. Students were inspired by the service.
I thought it was a great service today. I really enjoyed today's preacher that we had. I thought he was real good. I enjoyed the music, enjoyed the entire service.
PCM holds its Sundays on Mondays services every Monday evening at 5 p.m. in the Guild Chapel. For the News at Ryder, this has been Kelly Dixon.
Guild Chapel wasn't only holding special services for Black History Month this week. Yesterday was Ash Wednesday, an important holiday in many Christian faiths. Nicole Lawrence has the story.
Many Christians on the Ryder campus, Lent is an important time in their religious year. Lent is 40 days starting on Ash Wednesday and skipping over Sundays. I asked Reverend Nancy at the Guild Chapel about the significance of Ash Wednesday and the 40 days of Lent.
Lent for Christians represents the 40 days before Easter, and Easter, of course, represents the resurrection of Jesus, which is what makes us Christian to believe in that. And the 40 days purpose is for us to turn away from our sins, repent, that's what that means, and to be better followers of our faith, of the Christian faith. Ash Wednesday is the beginning of Lent. It's the first day of Lent. And people either often will give up something. You've heard people say they give up eating chocolate cake or eating desserts. Or maybe they'll take on something, which I prefer really, that they'll do something every day for other people. It's a more positive something, I feel. Some people give up smoking, which is always good anyhow, or drinking. Or they may decide they're going to go work at the soup kitchen once a week as something they take on to make the world a better place. Tomorrow we're having a program at Westminster Choir College, and it's talking about the Hallelujah song and Handel's Messiah, and its biblical references. It's totally based on the Bible. For those that want to be up at Westminster, it's 11:30. But here we will be doing, again, a combination of giving up things and putting on things. We're going to do a service project on Sunday where we're making Valentines for boys and girls for a church in Trenton. We are going to be doing a service of healing later, about, I don't know, March 4th, I guess it is, a month away or so, where people can lift up whatever might be hurting them, their pains, their illnesses, and ask that God touch them and heal them.
The News at Rider will keep you posted about future events in the Guild Chapel. This has been Nicole Lawrence for Channel 20 News at Rider.
Now that Lent has begun, there will be many more services offered at Guild Chapel. For more information on services, please visit www.rider.edu.
Events on campus take a lot of planning. Much went into Protestant Campus Ministries Black History Month service. Kelly Dixon has more.
The Black History Month celebration service is nothing new for PCM. Reverend Nancy gave us some insight into what it takes to put the service together.
Protestant Campus Ministry has always had traditionally a service for Black History Month. I wish that there didn't have to be a special month for each of these different groups on campus, but traditionally there is on this campus for Black History Month, and in honor of what it stands for, we try always to have a particular service with food in honor of it. I talked with Reverend Toby Sanders before Christmas and asked if he would be available to come, and I gave him the date. Now, he is somewhat new in this area, and his church, Beloved Community, is at the same church where I'm on staff, and it's Covenant Presbyterian Church in Trenton. So it was easy for me to connect with him. It was the first time he'd ever been here for it, and I hope you'll come back sometime.
Reverend Nancy joked about her reasoning for choosing Reverend Sanders as the guest speaker.
I thought the students would like his dreadlocks. But beyond that, I know he's a man of deep faith, and he communicates very well with people. And he also, and I was a little bit surprised at this, but I knew that he had a very academic background. And so afterwards, to me, it was interesting that he tried to get the students at our dinner involved in kind of broader issues. And I think that's good for us all to think beyond or outside the box and what's new or different, or look at the same old problem in a different way.
Reverend Sanders really tried to target his audience with his sermon.
What I did was I thought, what would I would have liked to hear when I was 21, 22, 19, how did I want adults to talk to me? And I tried to pick a message that was encouraging and respectful, but also challenging, right? I would have wanted to be challenged when I was young, to be the best that I could, at that time. And so that's what I tried to do. I tried to encourage and challenge.
Nancy says that the dinner offered after the service always helps in gaining attendance.
We have found that Rider students, being Rider students, that food attracts, and a wonderful soul food dinner attracts even more. And fortunately, we probably wouldn't have been able to do it if we don't get some of our donations from the Multicultural Studies Center. And so I'm very grateful to them. The person who is the chef in charge of cooking the meals is a school classmate of Mr. Don Brown, who's the director of the Multicultural Center.
Reverend Sanders left behind some words of wisdom for those students who could not make it to the service.
Read and act courageously. Question things, and don't just do superficial research. Do deep research. Look beyond Wikipedia. Look beyond CNN. Look beyond the shallow surfaces, and read, whole books and the original thinking of really sharp people. Engage the history, and just keep up the good work. We are proud of you.
If you have any suggestions for speakers you may like to see at any service, please contact Reverend Nancy at extension 5180. This has been Kelly Dixon for the News at Rider.
PCM also has a Bible study each Thursday at 5 p.m. in the new building conference room.
With more and more issues flooding the minds of students these days, the Student Government Association has more issues to debate than ever. I was at their most recent meeting and had a chance to speak with some of the attendees.
Students joined together at Swigart Auditorium to voice their opinions on given topics and situations. Questions were raised when the housing dilemma was brought to the floor.
Basically, there are lots of people that want to live on campus, and there's not enough space to accommodate them. That's the bottom line, and that fact isn't going to change. So they've instituted a couple policies that are going to be a little different than last year to help manage the problem.
One main concern regarding residents centered on independents residing with Greeks.
Independents moving in with Greeks, it's a very interesting situation because, that's never happened before, really. And it's really, you got to wonder, it's a different situation in the sense that, at one hand, you have special interest housing up here. You have, wellness, you have freshman experience. But, Greeks are their own special interest, and lumping other people in with special interests. I mean, granted, Greek halls are no different than other residence halls. It's just there's a special bond there that other people might not be part of, and that might be disenfranchising to the people who are not part of said organization.
Personally, I think that if we had independents living in with the fraternity, it would kind of take away from that brotherhood aspect of a fraternity, what a fraternity is supposed to be about, living with people like you know and you love, for instance. We're supposed to be supporting each other, and if we have independents, I feel like it's going to be a little more diluted than it should be. We're supposed to have the condensed brotherhood living together and right next door, but if we have a next door neighbor that's an independent, then again, it kind of takes away from that aspect.
You're not going to be forced as an independent to live in the Greek house. If you are completely against it, want nothing to do with living in a Greek house, then you definitely won't be forced. They're not going to drag you in and say, this is it. Too bad, suck it up. That's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying to give people the opportunity that need housing to get housing. And if you desperately need housing, some people will say, yeah, that's fine. I'll live in a Greek house. If it's either that or commuting for 2 hours every single day, I think I'll choose on-campus housing with the Greeks.
I feel also, in a positive sense, that if we did have individuals that weren't a brother, for instance, it could potentially help out with recruiting. Because let's say they were an independent and they weren't part of a brotherhood, well then, after a while, if they start to learn what we're about, what we do, community service-wise, events-wise, I think that it could really help with the recruiting bit. So maybe it's not such a bad thing. In the same sense, it could be.
Incoming and current freshmen will both be guaranteed housing this upcoming fall. However, housing deposits may be moved to early March.
It's still really open for discussion. It was recommended by the committee to actually move the housing deposit up. They were going to keep it March 25th, and we said, what if we don't get housing? Now we're not going to have any time to go find anything else. And, it's only a couple weeks. There's spring break in the middle of it, so it's maybe 3 or 4 weeks up. I definitely understand that it could be potentially a problem for those students, but, that's why we're telling you early, so that way you can save up.
Those who will not be freshmen or sophomores will be put into a lottery.
They'll be assigned a number based on their class, and the highest number will get to select first. Premium housing is still available, and group applications are still being accepted. So this change is going to be big, but we hope it's not going to be too stressful.
The Housing Committee would like to remind the student body that only a small percentage of students will be affected by this change. Nothing yet has been decided regarding housing. The Student Government Association will meet again on Tuesday, February 12th to discuss the situation in further detail.
Students who have concerns or questions regarding the current housing situation can contact either SGA officers or the Current Housing Committee. One of the most popular shows shown here on Channel 20 is Networking. Garrett Williams recently interviewed networking producer Justin Herrera about where his idea for the show came from and just how much work goes into it on a weekly basis.
Networking is a very popular sitcom shown on the Rider Network. The show describes how a television station is run in the real world, from brainstorming about an idea to putting it on camera. I had the opportunity to speak with producer Justin Herrera on how he came up with the concept of networking.
My writers were actually performing on stage, and afterwards I told them that I think they were very good, and I knew they were very outgoing, and I mentioned to them that I wanted to work with them because I worked in the TV studio. And I asked them if they can write me a script, and the next night they came up with the concept of networking. So after that, we just hit it off from there.
While talking with Justin, he described how the show is prepared before it is filmed.
Before we actually start filming, we have this thing called a script read-through meeting, where we all the actors and actresses come and just read their script aloud, and we kind of get feedback from us, just from me, the director, and just the camera people, and just the people who edit the show. When I met my writers in the pub that night, they told me they had people who acted, and they do theater here, so we kind of met up with them, and then he worked around the people he knew when he was writing the script. He knew Candace on the show, and so he figured that this girl Alex Sherry would play this role. So really, they picked the characters.
Justin discusses his aspirations for his show and the Rider University Network.
Ultimately, I would like to edit when I graduate, and I think producing a sitcom, just working with a big group of people, we work with 10, 15 people, and just kind of managing that, you feel the leadership after after you get an episode done and just having edited and just watching it on the Rider Network, you just feel good about it, and you can say, yeah, you know what, I accomplished that, and this is what I want to do when I graduate. I think anybody can really get involved with the TV studio. I started when I was only a sophomore here, and I started as a lab assistant. And my next semester, I was already working on different shows. And I think really anybody who is a communication major, and I don't think you even need to be a communication major. You just come into the studio, introduce yourself, and you can work on a show, really. That's all it takes.
For more information about networking, please contact Justin Herrera via email at herreraj@rider.edu. This is Garrett Williams, Channel 20, News at Rider.
Keep your TVs locked to Channel 20 for the newest episode of Networking, which will premiere later this month.
The art gallery on the top floor of the BLC is often a busy place, giving shelter to visiting art and artists, as well as onlookers. Nicole Lawrence had a chance to take in the most recent display of artist Bruce Rigby's work.
Bruce Rigby is a professor of art at the College of New Jersey. His artwork has been featured in over 180 exhibitions nationwide.
I chose Bruce because he's a very fine artist. He has a terrific reputation, and also he's from the College of New Jersey. And I thought it would be interesting to bring a professor from another college within our area here to Rider.
I really enjoyed the variety of paintings and seeing the development that the artist had from his military artwork on through to the car paintings, which actually fooled me because I thought they were done years ago, and those are the most recent paintings.
I found it to be very exciting. This is one of my first galleries, so it was something new and different for me, and I've never really seen abstract art before, so it's something, I don't know, something that gets into you and you just have to discover it for yourself.
I just like to make things, whether it's a stone wall in my backyard or adding something onto my house or making my paintings or making food and cookies and stuff like that. I love to make things.
And the next exhibition coming up is a painter from New York named Nancy Hagen, and that show isn't necessarily a retrospective, but it's going to take up a considerable amount of time, meaning an expanse of time in the work that's going to be exhibited here. It's not just going to be works from 2008 or 1998. It's going to be from one time period through another.
For more information about Bruce Rigby, you can visit www.brucerigby.com. This has been Nicole Lawrence for Channel 20 News at Rider.
Rigby's work will be on display until February 24th.
Are you wondering what the Student Entertainment Council could have in store for Rider this spring? You probably aren't alone. With the spring concert right around the corner, Sean Rainey caught up with some of the members of the SEC and asked them exactly what we can expect.
The Student Entertainment Council of Rider University is busy throughout the year planning major events for the campus to enjoy. One event being the spring concert, which the students have a vote for who they want to see perform.
Well, we look at a grouping of artists that are in our price range, and we evaluate them and we talk about them. And the survey that you see has been brought down from a bigger group of artists that we had, and then we look at it and analyze how many votes go to each, and if there's like a tie or it's a close matching, then we analyze pricing amongst those artists, as well as just what the students might be more into and availability of the artist. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but then hopefully we get someone that people will enjoy.
The 5 bands students had the choice of picking from during an online survey this past fall were Dashboard Confessionals, Gym Class Heroes, T-Pain, Boys Like Girls, and Colby Collet. SEC must go through the numbers and then go about contacting the artists to see if they can perform.
We have agents that we use, one in particular that is used quite frequently, almost every year, and we usually go to him and ask him for the availables for the spring, and he'll give us that list, and we will see what fits in our budget and go from there.
Last year's concert featured Jason Mraz, an artist who was not on the survey.
I know we had put out a survey before that, and he wasn't on it, but there's a few complications that we run into that people don't know about. But we felt it was a good matchup for people what music people wanted to see.
SEC is involved in more than just playing in concerts. They are currently working on planning many more events for the campus to enjoy.
There should be some lectures coming up, and I know some smaller like daytime and nighttime events, maybe comedian, not really sure.
We're always in the process, but we do always look into events that people are always into, like comedy events and just small things during nighttime. We had like old time photos last night, and we always like to do lectures that interest a lot of the students. So nothing's really set, but we're constantly working on new things to bring.
SEC meets every Monday at 4:30 in the SRC conference room. This has been Sean Rainey, Channel 20, News at Rider.
That's all the time we have for today.
Thanks for watching and have a great day.